we're on the pathway to enlightenment. Meditation and the practice of mindfulness over a period of time will help you to live in states of brightness. Having a good teacher is very important because the practice is quite complicated as you get further along. It becomes very sophisticated. A good teacher will empower you, yell at you, not tell you what you want to hear, tell you the truth about how to meditate, how to get your act together, how to get organized, how to develop yourself fully, how to control yourself, how to have a more positive image and then move beyond that image to perfection. Good teachers are not known for telling you what you want to hear, and consequently they're rarely popular because they tend to offend people on a regular basis by their mere presence on earth, it seems, because people don't really want to know the truth. The truth is that you're all dead in the future, and everything that you do has no point, and all of the achievements of the human race are meaningless. That's the truth. If you don't think so, go visit Egypt sometime or ancient Greece and look at all those wonderful edifices that are just burnout stone now. Museum wear. And yet, enlightenment is part of that. We're back to Buddhist mysteries, Buddhist fun. Enlightenment is part of it. Those moments were beautiful, I guess, when they were doing all that. But they pass, they're transient. And none of this matters a bit. Yet, of course, it matters at that moment. So we try and be mindful of the moment, this moment in incarnation, in awareness, where we're alive and experiencing whatever life is putting before us and putting us in and through. And we try and be bright and positive and understand it. But it's fleeting. Nothing lasts. Youth fades. Flowers fade. Passion fades. But life itself goes on forever. And when you know that, you figure, well, I might as well learn how to deal with this life thing since it's going to go on forever. And since I live forever in one lifetime or another, in one body or another, I might as well learn to do it right because it'll be better for me. I mean, I think that's an intelligent way for you to look at things. It's necessary to have a very liberal and simultaneously very conservative mentality to practice Tantric Zen. If your mentality is just liberal, then Tantric Zen won't work, because all you'll want to do is play around and be broad-minded. If you're completely conservative, then Tantric Zen won't work for you, because you'll reject all liberal attitudes and ideas and just be stuck in being conservative. Whereas if you fluctuate between liberal and conservative, Tantric Zen will work for you. In other words, Tantric Zen is not being kinky, nor is it libertinism. On the other hand, nor is it being conservative and austere. It's eclectic. It's a real mixture of all things. And it's for a broad-minded person who can one day go up to the top of the mountain and leave everybody behind and meditate in solitude and have a great time. And the next day they can be down in the shopping mall walking around and enjoy looking at everything. At one time in their life they can give up eating meat and feel inspired by that, and then suddenly at another time in their life they can be eating meat and have fun with that. And they don't see a contradiction. They could be celibate for a while, then they could go through a sexual phase. Or maybe always be celibate or always have sex. There would not be a sense of discord in that person's mind because they see that all things contain life and light. And there doesn't have to be a reason for doing something. You can become celibate and not have relationships because that's what you find yourself doing. You can have relationships because that's what you find yourself doing. Not because it's right or wrong, but yeah, that's what you find yourself doing. The emphasis in Tantra is not on what you find yourself doing. It's on meditation. Tantric Zen is all about the practice of Zazen meditation. And the theme is, or the thought, that if you meditate well, you'll be in very powerful states of mind, and then it really doesn't matter much what you do. So rather than minding your P's and Q's, you meditate instead. You can gain power by avoidance. You can gain power by doing certain things. You can gain much more power by meditating. So if you spend your time meditating instead of avoiding and doing, then later as you walk through life, you don't have to avoid and you don't have to do. You can just be. And your mind will be in an elevated state whereby whatever it is you are or what is passing before your eye, the life that you are experiencing, will be experienced very differently because you'll be wandering through the 10,000 states of mind.
Get beyond yourself and grow up, will you? What's the matter with you? You're a slacker. What are you doing with your life? You just experiencing it? Kind of dull, isn't it? There are other options on the menu of life. Perception of planes of power, dimensions of ecstasy, worlds of radiant light beyond comprehension. Or you can watch TV, whatever makes you happy. Because you know no one's judging. No one's in the sky with a big card marking down whether you were right or wrong today. I think life is much more complex and much more beautiful than that. That's an interesting human invention. But life is endless. It's made up of light. And it goes on forever. And no human being's observations of it or judgments of it will ever change its character. But I suppose if I have a message for the world, for the people of the world, it's chill out. Just chill out. Stop all this silly violence and hate and oppression. You're missing a really good moment. And you'll die, and that's that, and you'll be reborn. But you're missing a great moment. And it's the moment of your life today. And you know, when you hate, and you're all screwed up, and you're angry, and you're egotistical, and you're macho competitive, you're just some little chicken. You're just afraid. You're afraid to deal with life. So you hide in your humanness, you hide in your humanity, and that's okay too, because that's another part of enlightenment. Every aspect of consciousness, every plane of being, every emotion, what you call both good and evil, I don't know, it varies from person to person. Everything is part of God. God is all things. Atman is Brahman. And that's how it is, and that's how it's always been. So enlightenment is the perception of pure perfection. We forget that sometimes. We get angry, we get frustrated, we get bent out of shape. But that's enlightenment too. Isn't it strange? And then enlightenment is this: the experience of perfect light in meditation. And yet it's daily life, happiness, unhappiness, and things that aren't even in this world. If you're interested in these things, meditate, follow your heart, be still, be conscious. And always be positive, because beyond this transient surface of life, there's endless light, endless consciousness, and endless goodness. Existence ultimately is good. What else could it possibly be? What else could it possibly be? Existence is perfection. In its own ultimate kindness, it creates all of this. All of these worlds, all of these beings, all of these forms, all of these aggregates and patterns it creates out of itself. It makes you and I and the flowers and the death that takes these things and the new life that brings them back. It's a mystery. So aim yourself at the highest. Look to that which is most beautiful for you. Experience the moments of your life in brightness. I guess if I have a message, that's it. Have a good time. Enjoy the show. Eat some popcorn, but watch out for the butter because it's got cholesterol. That's the wisdom of the enlightened. Have a good time with your life. And when it's not fun and it's painful beyond comprehension, withdraw into the stillness of your mind and look into life, into the depths of the universe, and you'll discover that there's only perfection, and that pain will go away. That frustration will go away, that rage will go away, and you will see that life is perfect again.
How do you become enlightened? Have fun, meditate, don't take yourself too seriously. Brush between incarnations and have a good teacher. Have a sense of humor, it helps a lot. How do you become enlightened? I don't know, luck, karma, skill, friends in high places, friends in low places. There's certain things that you do need, though. You need a path. If you're trying to make it to the top of the mountain and there's no path, it's pretty difficult. Oh, once in a while an individual just makes their own path, and you may be one of those, but they're pretty few and far between. Let me tell you. Usually you follow a path. A path is there because it was one of the best ways to get up to the top. And somebody figured that out. And so they saw the easiest way, or perhaps the way with the most wonderful views. There are different paths. They afford different views. Some have greater difficulties, some less. Some people like difficulty, some want an easy way. That's why one path is not better than another. The important thing is to get the path that suits you, to follow that path. And once you select it, to stay with it, and not to keep changing paths, always thinking that the next one is going to be better. It's not. Sometimes people like to avoid difficulty by running away, as I mentioned before. Running away solves nothing at all. Sometimes we make a change in life. It's an intelligent selection. Our intuition says it's time to change from one path to another. The one we were on was too slow for us or too fast for us, or it just didn't have the views we wanted. But to keep changing constantly accomplishes nothing. It's always thinking the next city you live in is going to be better. There'll be more trees, less trees, different people, different buildings. But life is the same wherever you go. It's good just to pick something that you like and then stick with it for a while and work on it, perfect it. But always thinking that the next relationship is going to be better, the next person. Some are just not suitable. But there comes a time in life where you just buckle down and have a good time with what you're doing, because you realize that it doesn't much matter what you're doing. What matters is how you do it. Personal power and knowledge and fun come from how you approach something, not what you approach. When you give your best to something, and then you find out how to do better than your best, you feel good. But to run away accomplishes nothing. To take on a challenge and approach it strategically, intelligently, and spontaneously, that's a good time.
Tantra means taking the experience of meditation that normally is reserved for sitting with your legs folded and your eyes closed out into the world. Let me give you an example. I'm in the music business, do all kinds of music for television shows, music for films. I also do rock and roll. Now, some people would find it very difficult to understand how a person who practices Buddhism can be involved with rock and roll. They seem like two opposite things. Rock and roll is supposed to be heavy, dark, sensual, and Buddhism is supposed to be, I don't know, something that just happens up in the Himalayas, where the light is beautiful and we walk around and we just, look at flowers, or we're in Japan in a Zen garden or something like that. But when I get involved in music and I get involved in rock and roll, if I can meditate, if I can hold my mind in a meditative state, then when I perform, when I compose, or when I dance, then, well, what do I have? I have Tantra. I have cross currents of life coming together, and my life is art. I'm in a meditative state. I'm beyond thought. I'm beyond time, space, yet here I am right in the middle of it, experiencing multidimensional reality.
If you think yourself beautiful or unbeautiful, if you are wed or unwed, if all these things are so apparent, then you are so stuck in a boring life. And everywhere you turn, you see reflections of your own boredom. Life is never boring. Only you are boring. You're boring because you don't live dangerously. You're not willing to live in eternal attention. You're too lazy. You're not lazy. Look how much energy you have to do all the things that you do. You've never been lazy. No one's lazy. What we would call the laziest person on earth expends a tremendous amount of energy to not do things. So there are no excuses except the ones that are boring. Everything is life. Everything is energy. Everything is consciousness. So you've got to let go and stop playing a role. Even now that you may have adopted a good role, this is what I'm suggesting. We broke out of the old ones. Wonderful. And now we've all been meditating together for some years, and we've got new roles. I'm a spiritual teacher. You're a spiritual aspirant. And the role of a spiritual teacher can be as deadly a trap as the role of spiritual aspirant. The role of the enlightened one can be as much of a trap. And you say, well, how can, I don't know, but it can be. Who says it can't be? Who says anything is anyway, anyhow? Who are these people who keep telling us everything is this way or that way? Who wrote all those books? How do you know they're right? Have you experienced it yourself? Why can't something be and not be at the same time? I see it all the time. I live in a world of constant, changeless, endless confusion. It's wonderful, the redolent disorder of life, which is perpetual, perfect being. Uniform nirvana, no measurements, no sizes. Nothing ever comes in the mail anymore. The box is gone. Nirvana, no address, no forwarding, no zip code, no cellular phones. So the key to all of this then would seem to be to develop a wonderful sense of humor and a reverence for life. And that's really about all you need. That sense of humor keeps you meditating in new ways. And to meditate is to live. Life is meditation. It keeps you changing, because you can look at yourself and realize, in all your spiritual advancement or in all your new discovery, how silly you are. And as you hold up your achievements and measure them against eternity, you know they don't show. Candle to the stars. Where are you anyway? How did you get here? Why were you born? What is the meaning of life? Are you in balance? What is your balance? Are you balancing yourself against some arbitrary standard or description? Is my point. Or are you like, gosh, man, are you, geez. Are you making it up as you go along? That's the way to do it. Just make it up as you go along. Because it isn't really, the script isn't written. You just have to, get creative and break away from everyone who knows you and everything you know. You know about yourself so well. You know your reactions, your loves, your rights, your wrongs, your ins, your outs. Gigi. But what good is it doing you? What good is it doing you? Are you seeing the rainbows of life still? Have you merged with the stillness? What good is it all doing you? Don't hold on to these wonderful things. They're not so wonderful. My judo teacher used to explain that whenever you grab someone and hold them to throw them, at the moment you do that, of course, you've just put yourself in a perfect position to be thrown. Because once you're holding on, that point of pressure, that point of attachment can be used for your own demise. So you should be very selective as to what you grab onto. And know that the circuit always runs two ways. Life is perpetual beauty. Try not to grab onto too many things. And remember that outside of time, outside of space, outside of duality, which are just ideas, and even the idea of the ideas themselves is just another idea, but still, there is something, and that something is wonderful, absolutely wonderful beyond understanding. And that is the universe, the eternal universe. It's not just stars, planets, quasars, black holes, and McDonald's hamburger stands. It's endless light, it's awareness. The universe is actually alive, it's intelligence. An intelligence that so far surpasses anything that has yet been seen, or dreamed, or imagined. And you enter into that intelligence. You are it, you're a reflection of it. But to see it all, to be it, to be that totality, that's what attracts a few of us, to perpetually go forward into it. And it's neither moral nor amoral, good nor bad. It's not an achievement. It's just what you're drawn to. We're drawn back to the sea of eternity. And along the way, there are places you can get stuck. You're going down the river of life, and there are little sandbars you can get your boat hung up on. Or if you choose, you can stop at any point and get off the boat and walk around and see things. Then you get back, it's Huck Finn and Jim headed down that Mississippi River, seeing life, going into one town and having an experience, getting back on the boat. And they're happiest on that boat, cruising down the river, looking up at the stars at night. But then again, part of us always wants to get off and to see and experience different sides of life. Because everything we see is what we are. So be careful of the trap of selfhood, be it the ultra-boring, mundane selfhood, or the selfhood of goodness, the selfhood of spiritual awareness and achievement. Be neither attracted nor repulsed, nor nebulous, nor advanced. Beyond all these ideas and goals is perpetual beauty. And to know that is to be free. And to be free of that is to know much more. That which appears to be empty is full, and that which is full is never empty.